Okay, so you'll start with a new drawing right here, or you can go up here and say new, and then drawing file standard IDW. Either way will work, there or here. And first things first, we're going to change the sheet size to size A. You guys are getting so good at that. I know. What was that?
My piece wouldn't fit on A size.
Oh, we can change the size. Yeah, so we change the scale for that. So good question though. So edit sheet, change the size A, okay. And then when you've got this ANSI large in here, we can just delete it for this assignment. So right click and say delete. And then base view, because we're all about the base, And we're gonna look up our first piece. And let's see, mine's probably in the downloads. If you're using an example one, you might still have it there. It turns out I do. So here's part one. And I'll say open. And when it comes in, it'll look like this. Yours might be a little bit bigger. This one was drawn in millimeters, so this is 10 millimeters. It's about half the size of the inch ones if you did it that size. So you can change the scale. I'm going to probably beef mine up and make it 2:1 instead of 1:1. So just kind of whatever scale fits. 4:1 is going to be a little bit too big. 3:1 is a little better. Actually, I might do 3:1. That might. Nope, just kidding. 2:1. That's better. And I want my front, top, isometric, and right view. And I'll right click and say OK.
Okay, so which part did you grab on?
This one was part one, but you can do it to, you can use whatever part you're doing for if it's your own design. Yeah. Black or grayscale. Okay. So let me show you. Sometimes it'll do that. So if you go base view, find that part again. I'll say open. And we do want to keep the color. So to keep the color right here, there's a little box. If it's like this, then it's going to be grayscale, so it's unhighlighted. You want it to be shaded this kind of blue color after you click it, and that means it will keep your color in the shading. So I'll put it right here, and I could even change this view to look like that if I wanted. That might even be a little bit better. This, and this. And I'll say OK. And there's really a lot of different things you could do to make this work. I could even go back here and edit the view and change my orientation to be like that. I think everything else will follow. Well, those two did. My isometric didn't. So anyways, on the example in here, we oriented it this way, and it's really like kind of up to you. Technically, I think this view is probably a little bit better because it gives more detail, and you normally want the best detailed view to be right here. But this is a good example because it gives us all of these dimensions are on one side, this one's here, and this one's here. So where to go? Inventor. When we want to place dimensions, we go annotate, and there's two different major tools we can use for these, and there's chain, baseline, I guess 3, and just the standard dimension. Most of the time, I like to use baseline. Baseline is a pretty cool way because it all references one point, one edge, and you can get a lot done with just a few clicks. So baseline right here just means that we're going to start and have really a baseline, like a home line that's everything else is going to be relative to. So right here, if I click, I can just count all of these horizontal lines, and that will determine how many clicks I need to do. So I just go 1, 2, 3, 4, right click, continue, left click, right click, create. And that will give me my numbers here. Yeah, I'll do that again for sure. So this, just as another little thing, this point right here, when we've got a baseline, this is also called what's called a datum. A datum it's just that. It's a reference point for all other measurements. And it's kind of the most common way to do it. The other way is called chain. And this is correct, but it's not used as frequently. So you click 1, 2, 3, 4, and then watch how this one's different. Right click continue, and it does that. So when it's a chain, it means each dimension refers to another dimension. And this one is used less frequently because if there's a mistake right here, in like when you're manufacturing something, that mistake will get translated into this and then so on. So they're all connected. So if you make one little mistake, it gets expounded every time you do a new measurement. That's kind of why the baseline tends to be a better one. So baseline, so you just, anyway, so to do baseline, you click the baseline annotation here. You just click any horizontal line you see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right click continue. Single click, right click create. I can move these down like that, and it's great. We love it. Cool. Maybe want me to do that again?
Is there any more dimensions we need to go on?
Yes, yeah, there's a few more. But so to do that again, you go baseline, you just click any of these horizontal lines, and they don't necessarily have to be horizontal lines. Let me show you if I were to do this vertical. Really quick, I'm going to change the orientation. So if it's vertical like this, I would just pick probably this outside line too, so baseline, and then I just click the vertical lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. Up here, and then right click continue, left click, right click create. And there it is. So, and you asked, is that all we need? And we technically need a few more. I'm going to rotate this because I like it back the other way. Whoa, whoops, I destroyed it. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Okay, baseline, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right click, right. Okay, so there's that. Another thing we can do here is we can go baseline, and I can get these measurements as well. So I can go using the vertical lines. Go 1, 2, 3, 4. Right click continue. Left click, right click create. And this does break a small rule here. This line does refer to, like, this line goes over this, which is kind of a no-no, but in this case there's not a lot we can do in order to get that. So that one, like, there's rules. This is a lot like English. There's rules, we make them and we break them. So, and this is actually all we would need right here, because this provides oh, actually no, there's one dimension missing. Anyone want to take a jab at what we're missing? Yeah, so over here on the side, if I click this one, boom, that'll tell me how deep or how wide each of these pieces are. So, and then how about this one? Does this one need any dimensions, do you think? How about this one? Is that a good one or a bad one? Yeah, it's the same. So this one right here and here, it's actually the same exact dimension. So I don't actually need this one, so I can just say delete it. Okay. So once you've got this guy all donezo, or whatever one you're working on, you can just save it. Yeah, just part 1 sounds good. Okay. And then, let me see. I'm going to try, okay. So then we're going to make a new drawing. Yes?
If all my questions are the same, do I just need the 2 dimensions that I want to?
Pretty much, yeah. If they're all exactly the same, and if as long as it's not doubling on sorry, distracted there. So you want one dimension for height, width, and depth. So as long as all three of those bases are covered, you're all right. Sometimes they can cover 2 and 1, but most of the time you need at least 3, sometimes only 2 dimensions. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's another good question. So 2 of the parts are exactly the same. You don't really have to do it because it's the same thing. So good question. So this one on the example cube, this piece and this piece are exactly the same. So it's okay. You can skip one of them. So it's the same thing. Okay. Alrighty. So to start a new one, you go File, New, Standard DW, Create, change the sheet size, and edit sheet, size A. Looks good. Get rid of the ANSI. Delete. Base view, and then I'm going to use a different part. So this time I'm going to try part 2. Say open.
Do we only need 1 part or 3?
What was that?
Do we need 1 part or 3 on this one?
So you're going to do a drawing for each of the parts you created, unless they're the same. If you've got duplicate parts like I did, then just do one of them. So you don't, so you don't have to do more than one of the same kind. So I'm going to change this to 2 to 1. This looks like a good view. Look here, here, here. Make sure that this is shaded. And click OK. I can kind of move these a little bit to give myself some space. That looks good. And I think I just might see if I can have I'm going to add my, oh, all right, that didn't change anything. Okay, so now I'll just go annotate, baseline, and this one's going to be a little bit more complicated, not going to lie. So maybe I won't use baseline. Maybe I'll reorient this actually. Let's see. If I go edit view and I change this to that way, let's see what that does. Oh, same thing. That's a little better. Okay, so I can go baseline and go 1, 2, 3, 4. Right click, continue. There's one. Create. I can also use just dimension and go boom. Oh, no, I want baseline, just kidding. And just use these vertical lines. Right click, continue. Right click, create. And then I think the only one I'm missing now is this one. So I can go baseline on the verticals 1, 2, 3, 4. Right click, continue. Create. Okay, there we go. So this gives me all that information. And notice that these are the same. You're going to have a lot of these that look like they're just the same dimensions. And that's because they're based off of cubes. So if these were like rectangles, so they're a little bit longer than they are tall or something, you'd see some more variation. But so don't get too worried if you see some of the same numbers. You should expect quite a few of the same numbers to show up. So, okay. And then when you're all done, so you've got all of your parts dimensioned. If you double click on this gray bar right here, like this, it'll pull up all of your drawings at the same time. So if you can kind of zoom in a little bit on them, so when you turn it in, you'll just take a screenshot of all of your parts together. And this will just be so I can quickly refer and see that you got them all. And I'm expecting that some of them will be a little bit off because the dimensions are funny. There's almost always some little detail that's messed up. But as long as I can see you got them all in and it's like 80% correct, I'll award full points on it. So, okay. Alrighty. Any questions about that? Yes.
How did you get the one on the bottom right to face up direction? Because mine's facing towards the right.
Oh, how to make it change? Good question. So all of these views are based off of this first one we placed. So if you right click on that one and you say edit view, this little block will show up, and you can change the view by rotating it or clicking different positions on this little observation cube. And yeah, so you just kind of pick whatever one is going to be the easiest to draw dimensions, and generally which one has the most detail in this view. So technically this probably should have been this view, but in order to make this like to avoid drawing lines, dimension lines over the object, I chose to use this one instead. So there's a lot of like reasoning and just kind of like, I guess this would work, I think this would work, and yep. Okay, that's pretty much it. So we've got we have 20 minutes. So you can just kind of wrap this thing up and get it submitted, and that's that. So not too shabby. Again, the slides are on here, Intro to Dimensioning PowerPoint, so if you need any review or refresh, you can check that out. There you go. And another thing, if you use the example cube, like you've probably noticed that all of these are like solid even multiples of 10, and then in here, these are all different. That's because we have got these in inches. So it's the same size, but this has been converted into inches. And I think you can actually change that in Tools, Document Settings, Drawing, Sketch, Standard. Oh yeah, you can change it from ANSI Standard to ANSI Millimeter, Apply, Close. And then it won't change the ones I've already created, but if I go back and reset these, I believe it will change it to millimeter for me. Yeah, so that's how you do that. And it just as a general practice and common sense, really, you don't want to mix two different units in the same drawing. So this is in millimeters, this is in inches. So as long as they're all in the same unit, it's okay. So I'm just going to hurry and delete these ones, and oops, don't want to delete all that.
We're supposed to change the numbers that the baseline showed.
What was that?
I didn't change the numbers that the baseline showed. I just
That's okay. That's all right. So this is, as long as you're consistent, as long as it's on all inches or all millimeters, it's totally fine. So if you didn't change it, don't worry about it. So just continue as you've got it. This is just a little extra guacamole on the side. Boom, boom, boom. Right click, continue. Right click, create. Okay, there's that.